Welcome to Thoroughbred 360, insights, stories and strategy from the commercial world of thoroughbred racing with your host, Bruce Slade. Welcome to this week's episode of Thoroughbred 360. It is episode 33, everyone, and I wanted to kick off by saying now is a great time to have a positive mindset and a glass half full mindset. It's winter, we know that. It's cold. I find this time of year with less sort of people interaction, people more in hibernation, there's more of a negative mindset. But I think if you can be the opposite, you can be on the front foot, whether you're thinking about your matings, whether you're looking at sales placements, whether you're buying, selling online, if you can be positive about what's to come, I think you can be ahead of the game. Because as I say, with less racing action on now, outside of carnival time, colder weather, a lot of people away on holiday, there's opportunity to find value in the market. Still, stick to your guns. You still need the quality stuff. I'll mention shortly the sales that we've seen overseas that have happened in the past week. But you know, quality stuff. Stick to the quality. Don't go outside of those boundaries. I think you can find good value playing over the next 6 weeks. Touching on those results from overseas, as I say, I think you're going to find in a few months' time, come breeze up sale time, come yearling sale time in early new year, we're going to find quality is going to really sell and sell well. We're going to look back at this time and say, gee, I wish I was more active, more positive, putting myself in a really good position with nice quality stock, because we've seen again overseas in America, FASIG July, the first yearling sale over there in the United States, a record average, a record median. In Japan, the JRHA sale, their select sale for the 6th year running, a new record gross and also a new record high median. So quality is selling, it's selling better than ever before globally, and I'm sure that same pattern is going to emerge in Australia come our breeze up sales this year and also into our yearling sales next year. And of course, good mating decisions, good buying decisions now can put your bloodstock interests in a really nice commercial position, providing you're staying positive and you're looking ahead. Of course, it's winter racing at this time of year. A lot of spring stars coming back into action. We'll see them trialling very shortly. I'm sure we'll see some this next week through the trials and jump outs around the country and obviously into early August as well. But we still saw some nice performances yesterday. Midnight Dynamite, he's been the horse of the winter in Sydney probably. Son of Pierata for Bjorn Baker and the Derby Racing team. Just touching on Pierata, I know we've talked about this horse already. He's won 2 stakes races. He's won the Winter Challenge now and the Civic Stakes through the winter. Pierata, 172 runners for 3 stakes winners. So he's below that sort of 5% threshold, which we look for. But the big thing with this horse is over the last 3 seasons, he's covered over 500 mares. And you're going to see a lot more Pieratas making their way to racetracks around Australia next 3 years. So expect to see that name Pierata pop up more and more. And perhaps there's some angle there from a breeding perspective in 2026 for you. The other stakes result from yesterday was for D'Argento, the young sire there at Bowness Stud. Now D'Argento, his oldest crop of 4, of course, a son of So You Think, a Group 1 winner over 2,000 metres. So you didn't expect them to be early types. One thing the Bowness team did do is very well is get him a really good start. He averaged 145 mares, 146 mares through his first 3 seasons. So covered over 450 mares through his first 3 seasons. And those horses now, 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds. So next season, they'll be 3, 4 and 5. Expect him to see more winners, especially as they're getting out and trip. He's now had 2 stakes winners from 111 runners. So he's now had 2 stakes winners from 111 runners, but you can see him adding to that, as I say, as his progeny get out and trip and maturity. In New Zealand, the listed Opunake Cup provided Prasia with a new stakes winner. Now Prasia is looking to win his 2nd New Zealand Championship title over there. Really a top stallion, obviously a son of Schwazir, a horse that was campaigned in Australia, trained by Adrian Gay. As I said, he's won 1 New Zealand champion size title. He's on his route for winning his 2nd, but the big thing for him is what's to come. these championship titles, on the back of these championship titles, he has covered much better books the last 3 seasons. So the current group of horses he has racing around is 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds, were from crops of just 80-something mares covered, resulting in 50 live foals. The last 3 years, he's covered 400 mares. His rising 2-year-olds, his rising yearlings, his biggest crops. And as we've seen, he's a really top side, this horse. And these are big numbers from his biggest fees. So expect Price here to not stop at just 2 champion New Zealand titles there at Richhill Stud in New Zealand. Probably the most upside, the most progressive of the horses we're seeing racing around at this time of year is from the 2-year-olds. And I thought this past week we've seen some really, really nice, promising horses. Let's kick off on Saturday. Joint Venture, of course, won in Sydney, a big weekend for the Newgate China Horse Club Colts group. Joint Venture, as I mentioned, winning in town for Mr. Chris Waller. He's a son of I'm Invincible out of Nomatage, a Maribyrnong trial winner. His granddam, a Maribyrnong trial winner. A lot of precocity and speed in this family. This horse did a really good job winning Saturday from back in the field. Came up the worst part of the running and I thought won the race really impressively. He now goes for a short break and comes back for some stakes races in the early part of the 3-year-old season. As I mentioned about Newgate China Horse Club, they nearly had a perfect Saturday. Spain, of course, running a big race for them in the SAJC size produce as well. Son of Snitzel out of an American family, so very much this successful cross for Snitzel where he's getting this, outcross blood from America seems to be working very well from. Of course, we've seen it with the likes of Switzerland. We've seen it with the likes of Wild Ruler too. St. Goddard, etc., coming through as well. So that's a very interesting cross. But Spain, over the 1400 metres, so brave. Fought back and, after being clearly beaten, he came back and got beaten by 0.04 of a length. So nose away from victory here for Newgate. But as probably the biggest thing to take away from it for Spain is, as he turns 3, as he gets up to a trip to a mile, 2,000 metres, I think we'll see a very, very nice horse there for Adrian Bott and Gay Waterhouse. The winner of that race, the size produce, was of course by Rich Enough Nouveau for Mr. John O'Connor. So congratulations to all the team there. I know that meant a lot to the team. And of course, meant a lot too to Woodside Park for a new stakes winner there for Rich Enough. At Flemington, we saw 2 really nice 2-year-olds at opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of distance. The Biley Handicap 1800 metre race for 2-year-olds at Flemington. It's a race that the Besutton Young have made their own over the years. Of course, Arcora coming through this race. This Besutton Young camp, Natalie and Trent, just terrific at getting these. Well, I just love these middle distance classic horses, and they're terrific at blooding them and producing Derby Noakes horses every single year they do. And this looks like another one for them. Is Kopang Hang. Now, interesting horse being by Ole Kirk. I think he's the 3rd winner for Ole Kirk at 1800 metres or beyond from 55 runners. So, obviously very much a sprinter miler type stallion. But this guy out of a Poet's Voice mare is obviously able to get out further, and he was really strong through the line there over 1800 metres. So he looks like a nice Derby candidate for Besutton and Young again for next season. In the sprint race on the 2-year-old card at Flemington, Riverina Lulu, she was really impressive. This was a race that had some really nice young horses, the likes of Hard Rider in there, a lot of nice other horses that had jumped out well, trialled well, but Riverina Lulu showed just what she was capable of course, coming off the back of 2 very smart jump outs. She was in front there to be beaten, but ran away with it. So congratulations to Graham Begg, her trainer, to the Mandy team there who bred and raced this filly. She is by Blue Point out of a Night of Thunder mare, so a real mix of Dali genetics there. Blue Point, such an interesting stallion. I mean, he really hasn't set the world alight down here as he has in Europe. He's done a very good job here, but in Europe, just last week, a breeding right in Blue Point traded for some 430,000 euros. So breeding right, of course, not a share. It allows you to send 1 mare per season for the rest of that horse's stud career, but no dividend or no percentage of the outside pool. So I thought that was very interesting trade, some 4.5 times Blue Point's stud fee, but just shows you how hot Blue Point is in Europe. And this filly might be a really nice filly, a stakes class filly for Blue Point now in Australia. Now, the Hong Kong racing season rounded up through the week, and I wanted to mention the big champions of their previous season. From these champions, there'll be some key commercial outtakes. Now, their champion horses this year was shared between Romantic Warrior and Ka Ying Rising. What I learned from that is A, terrific that they both got recognised. B, Hong Kong racing is world class when you put those two together. I mean, Ka Ying Rising is the equal highest rate in the world right now. Obviously, the world's best sprinter, and Romantic Warrior, no matter where he's been travelled, he's been mega competitive at Group 1 level in all the elite races, including, of course, a Cox Plate. So hats off to just the quality, the class of the top-end Hong Kong racing. It's as good as anywhere in the world. Of the other racehorses to be noted, there was the champion 4-year-old and most improved horse was Invincible Ibis, of course, the winner of the Hong Kong Derby. He is by Hellbent, importantly, so take note of that. And the champion Griffin was Hot Delight, a son of Two Done Hot. So both key commercial takeaways from what's been working in Hong Kong. Now, the champion awards for the people of Hong Kong racing, of course, the jockey title went to Zach Purton for the 9th time. Zach racking up his 2000th career win this season in Hong Kong. That makes him the all-time most winning jockey in Hong Kong history. And what I thought was interesting was the lesson from Zach is just that mindset of never giving up. Zach's first season in Hong Kong has been documented as being diabolical. 4.5% winners to runners strike rate for Zach. He contemplated leaving. His wife Nicole pushed him to keep going, to stay one more season. And here he is, as I say, the most successful jockey in Hong Kong history. Congratulations, Zach. On the trainers front, Casper Founds won the trainers premiership. Of course, Casper, his own father, Laurie, was a successful trainer. He knows the Hong Kong racing scene back to front. Casper's 5th trainers premiership, of course, now training alongside 2 of his 3 sons. So reading there that Ronan, one of his sons, works very closely with him in terms of the horse management, the hands-on training side of the business. Ronan very keen to become a trainer down the track. And then Casper's other son, Ryan, who handles the bloodstock and has travelled the globe sourcing horses for his dad. So learnings from Casper, I guess, are he knows that the Hong Kong racing system back to front. Obviously a brilliant trainer, one of the all-time greats now with over 1,200 career wins as a trainer in Hong Kong. But very close family man, got his family in close there as part of the business, but also a big mentor to the local jocks. He's a guy that sits down with a lot of the local Hong Kong apprentices, Hong Kong jockeys, works through film with them, and was actually, that was interesting that was noted, that just how much he works to help the locals in the racing industry. And the champion local jockey, the Tony Cruz Award, actually went to a guy called Jerry Chow, who has been mentored by Casper. And actually when Casper won his trainers premiership, Jerry was standing up there with him to congratulate him. So yeah, obviously Casper, not only super successful on the training front, but obviously very much immersed in the Hong Kong culture, the Hong Kong community, and having a greater good effect on the whole Hong Kong racing scene. Of course, one of Casper's big plays this season was to bring Joe Moreira back to Hong Kong, and Joe Moreira was the most winning jockey for Casper Founds this year over our own Australian Hugh Bowman. That wraps up episode 33. Thank you for listening. Hope you took something away from this week's episode. If you've taken anything away, it's stay positive, have a great week, be on the front foot, and have that glass half full mentality.